important role in the passing in 1628 of Edward Coke's Petition of Right, lineal descendant of Magna Carta and habeas corpus, which defended a subject's liberties, as long as they weren't Catholics, from an overweening monarch. Such men were determined to resume the battles of their Elizabethan forebears, representatives of an elect within an elect nation. They were to go out into the world with their providential God removing all obstacles set before them. Rich harvests of Spanish gold and land, abundant in a virgin new world, would be theirs, and would provide the means to fight back against the infringements of the king. Victory abroad would signify divine approval for the coming battle at home, where their triumph would complete God's design for his anointed nation of the New Testament, England, the new Israel. Divine disapproval of Charles I's misrule was already apparent to his Puritan opponents. The cloth trade, the foundation of England's prosperity for centuries, in which many of the Providence grandees had a major financial stake, had collapsed as the brutalities of the 30 Years' War harrowed Central Europe. Charles kept his distance from this bloody sectarian conflict, to the disgust of the Puritans, who had urged him to back England's besieged fellow Protestants, not least his sister Elizabeth, whose husband Frederick V of the Palatinate had lost Bohemia to the forces of the Holy Roman Emperor Ferdinand II and the Catholic League. As a consequence of his inaction against the will of a Protestant God, plague had swept England in 1625 and 1630, and poor harvests stalked the land. The Lord would not provide for those who abandoned the true faith. Many Puritans were driven by necessity from their barren home to seed new worlds, prosperous and free from popery. Oliver Cromwell, an East Anglian farmer with a gentleman's education, had considered such a move. The Providence Company, nonetheless, sought a royal charter from the monarch, whose rule they so mistrusted. They informed Charles of an island convenient to receive a fleet that has any design on any leeward part of the Indies, or Cartagena, Portobello, the Bay of Honduras, Hispaniola, Cuba, or Jamaica. And they emphasized its strategic value. The winds and currents around Providence Island ensured that ships heading in and out of Cuba, Spain's jewel in the Caribbean, with its magnificent harbour of Havana, would have to pass close to its high cliffs and protective shoals. From there, the English could harass and intercept ships carrying wealth from the New World to the Old. The greatest prize of all was the flota, the Spanish plate fleet, that once a year shipped the immense wealth of Mexico and the Peruvian silver mines of Potosi back to Europe. Charles, relieved to get this Puritan faction off his back, issued a patent on the 4th of December 1630 for the Company of Adventurers of the City of Westminster for the plantation of the islands of Providence or Catalina, Henrietta or Andrea. There is a hint of cynical fawning in the final words of the name the company gave itself, renaming the island adjacent to Providence, known to the Spanish of San Andrea, in honour of Charles's French and Catholic wife, Henrietta Maria. In return, Charles demanded 1/5 of the company's future profits. Providence, however, was to be no Bermuda or Barbados, semi-removed and clement in the eastern Caribbean, though the scheme's backers were convinced of the island's innate prosperity, which would bloom when watered by the godly. The grandees had little practical experience of the Caribbean. They were armchair adventurers, and the project was to be blighted by their insistence, until too late in the day, that it was they who would remain sole owners of land on the island, hindering the humbler ambitions of those settlers who put their lives on the line for the company's good, and asked only for a plot to call their own, their skin in the imperial game. Give a man the secure possession of a bleak rock, and he will turn it into a garden, wrote the agriculturalist.